Hey guys, you miss me? I know most of you have, and I'm sorry it's been a while. It's just had a lot going on with my birthday, with work, and much of other stuff. I mean, mostly on my birthday weekend, I was sick. There was so much that I wanted to do on my channel. I mean, I recently got Resident Evil 2 for the PS4, and if you're gonna ask what I thought about the game, fucking amazing. I highly recommend that without hesitation. It is by far the best game in the series since Resident Evil 4, and I spent hours and hours and hours playing that game. I mean, you could just keep playing it, and it doesn't get boring. It is actually fun. It's like, and one of the few things I like most about that game is that it kind of brings the franchise back to basics with the survival horror. Well, basically the game that kind of did that was Resident Evil 7, but still, I like that they're going in that direction again, because it's what we love about the Resident Evil games. It's just not like, say, like action heavy like Resident Evil 6. It's not like, I mean, Resident Evil 7 isn't supposed to be like Bad Boys 2 or Die Hard. I mean, it's a survival horror game where you had to conserve your ammo, and it's a puzzle game. And then that's what we love about the Resident Evil games, and that's how they should be. They're not just like so action heavy that you're like, this is not how Resident Evil's supposed to be, and it just kind of gets old after a while. But now that it's like kind of like back to basics with the survival horror, we want more of this. We want more of that. Just give us the good stuff, you know? Yeah, I kind of got on topic, but I've been kind of struggling about what I want to review, and been trying to set up a new set, as you can clearly see with this new background. Just recently ordered up these new posters on eBay, and it's just been a lot of stuff going on, and I'm so sorry. I mean, I've been wanting to do a video for a while, but I've been kind of struggling about what I wanted to do for a new video. But after a month or so of that, I finally it's been about a month. I'm just gonna do a video anyway. So yeah. After briefly watching several Bond movies on Netflix and Hulu, I decided to review a certain select few Bond movies that I grew up watching as a kid, and one of them that I'm going to review today is Goldeneye. Yeah. If you want to know my quick thoughts on Pierce Brosnan as Bond, well, I say he wasn't all that bad. He wasn't terrible as Bond. I mean, though his later installments after Goldeneye weren't as, perfect or anything, because they got so like heavy on the gadgets, and he's even like surfboarding on a tidal wave with when it comes to a satellite that's melting the polar ice caps. Oh, die another day. Ooh. I was a kid then, and I thought that movie was awesome back then, but watching it today, it's kind of like the effects are just so bad. I mean, that movie came out the same year as The Two Towers and Spider-Man. I mean, how could they be that bad? I mean, it was just, But Goldeneye, however, is without a doubt one of the best Bond movies ever. Well, for my opinion, I'm pretty sure I'm not alone in this, is that, and it's without a doubt Pierce Brosnan's best Bond movie ever. And it is directed by Martin Campbell, who would also later direct Casino Royale, which is by far one of my favorite Bond movies ever. And some people, most people consider it the best Daniel Craig movie, while others say, like, Skyfall, which was directed by Sam Mendes, who would also direct Spectre. Skyfall is considered by many to be the best Bond movie of all time. And I saw that in theaters when I was 14 years old, and I thought Skyfall by far was the best Bond movie of all time. But until watching Casino Royale later, I thought that by far is the best James Bond movie ever made, because they understand. I mean, they understood what Bond is supposed to be. I mean, he's supposed to be this dark, cold assassin, and he doesn't let. I mean, he's not like some Roger Moore guy who's just gonna sleep with a bunch of women and just be like, all fancy with the gadgets and everything. He's a person who, I mean, and it's just they got him right, and you don't hear the James Bond theme until the end of the film, and then he says, "The name's Bond, James Bond." It was basically an origin story for Bond, and it worked perfectly. And Martin Campbell is probably, without a doubt, one of the best directors the Bond series has ever had. And Sam Mendes is probably one of my favorite directors for the Bond series after seeing Skyfall. Spectre was okay, but Skyfall, without a doubt, is his best Bond movie. Now for the I kind of felt like I'm getting off track here. Now for Goldeneye, in case any of you haven't seen Goldeneye, it might contain some spoilers, so I warned you. I probably told you all this during my review for Goldfinger. The James Bond series has had a humongous impact on my life, because normally, during the summer, when I was a kid, I would go over to my grandpa's house, and every once in a while we would watch several Bond movies, mostly the Sean Connery movies and the Pierce Brosnan movies, and that was one of my best memories I ever had with my grandpa. Yeah, it almost makes me want to shed tears. Yeah, but the basic plot for Goldeneye is that there's a satellite called Goldeneye that has the ability to EMP anything on Earth, and 006 Alec Trevelyan, who's played by Sean Bean, who is an amazing actor. I mean, after seeing Goldeneye, Lord of the Rings, and of course Game of Thrones, he is a fantastic actor. And Alec Trevelyan is without a doubt one of the best Bond villains ever, because he's not just the big over the top villain who who's just petting his cat, or say wants to blow up the world with nukes, or use some laser satellite or whatever. The best Bond villains are the ones that you understand their motivations. And when it comes to Bond villains, I would have to say that the most absolute top Bond villain, I would have to say, is Raul Silva, played by Javier Bardem in Skyfall, because he owned every second he was on screen. As for Sean Bean as Alec Trevelyan, one of my favorite Bond villains, because he's a former MI6 agent who's gone rogue, and you understand his hatred for the British government, as well as his hatred of Bond, and it works perfectly. And of course, I haven't. I know a lot of people have played the GoldenEye game for the Nintendo 64. Honestly, and please don't don't freak out about anything, but I honestly haven't played the Nintendo 64 game. But don't worry, since I have a new hobby of collecting old gaming systems, my next on my list is the Nintendo 64, and of course, one game that I absolutely want for that system is GoldenEye 007 for the Nintendo 64. But as a teenager, I played the Wii version, which starred Daniel Craig, And I thought that game was mind-blowing. But since I have a sense of nostalgia when it comes to older games, of course I want to try out GoldenEye 007 for the 64. Alright, back to the review. And when it comes to Pierce Brosnan as Bond, he's a bit more serious, while at the same time being a bit more comedic. I mean, sure, he says like the one-liners that we all know, like the name's Bond, James Bond, or when he orders up a drink, he says "Buck a martini, shaken not stirred." It's like those. But my favorite line in the entire film was when Xenia Onatopp, played by Famke Janssen, gets killed. He says, "She always did enjoy a good squeeze." I love that line so much. When it comes to like certain action scenes, they are intense, they are amazing and beautifully well shot. The cinematography is some of the best that I've ever seen in a Bond film. Few Bond movies that have great cinematography, like Goldfinger, Casino Royale, and definitely Skyfall. I mean, I just feel like, and I'm pretty sure I'm not alone in this, sometimes GoldenEye doesn't get enough credit for its cinematography, and it's just like, come on, you gotta notice that this film is beautifully shot. It's just, give it some credit, people. And as for Famke Janssen as Xenia Onatopp, this is the kind of girl that will take your breath away, quite literally, by crushing you with her thighs. Crushing you with her thighs. That can't be a good way to go. I would hate to be that person that gets caught in their thighs. And, sorry. And the Bond girl, Natalia, one of my few favorite Bond girls. And, I mean, she's smart and everything. It's just, I think a few critics can criticize the whole love stuff between Bond and Natalia. And as I wanted to continue on with the action scenes, I love the tank chase and how, I mean, how awesome it is, and the tie straightening moment after all of that. And yeah, really love that so much. And as well as the opening scene with the dam jump. I was like, whoa, when I first watched this as a kid. It was so amazing. And when Bond's hanging upside down in the bathroom, and that one guy just looks away from it, he's like, "Beg your pardon, forgot to knock," and just knocks him out with one punch. Oh, I love that moment so much. And yeah. As for the ending of the movie, probably one of the best endings for a Bond movie that I've ever seen. When it comes to Boris flipping and just clicking the pen, when Bond knows that pen is a mini grenade. I mean, the way that it cuts back to Bond and the pen, love that moment. And the fight between Bond and Trevelyan, also awesome. And it's one of the few films that where you see a person falling really high and you see them land. And I was almost kind of disappointed that they didn't do the same thing with Die Hard, but I still love Die Hard. And it's, I mean, but when it comes to Goldeneye, it is without a doubt one of the best Bond films ever, and I really love it, and it's without a doubt the best Pierce Brosnan Bond movie, and I just think that Martin Campbell should at least direct at least one more Bond movie, because after Casino Royale, he did that green piece of shit, Green Lantern. Yeah, I think we can all agree that we just want to forget Green Lantern. That movie ever happened. Oh, Martin Campbell, why did you have to get stuck with Green Lantern? Oh, that was a piece of shit. Yeah, because after that, I just feel like he needs to do at least one more Bond film. Because, I mean, he's probably one of the best directors the series has ever had. My other favorite director, like I said, is Sam Mendes, who did Skyfall. So, yeah, just at least do one more. So, I'm going to give Goldeneye an A. Yeah, I mean, it's not perfect by any means. It does have its few issues. I know it's been criticized for its score. I'm just gonna say it. I love it. I think it's awesome, and I just feel like it doesn't get enough credit. Yeah, and I mean, it's a great Bond movie with a great actor to play Bond, a great villain, a perfect henchwoman. That's for sure. A great Bond girl, and you can understand the characters. That's what makes a Bond movie so great, because it makes you understand the characters, their motivations, and everything, and you just want more of that. Whew. Yeah. Sorry it's been a while since I've done a video, guys, so I promise I'm gonna try to do more videos really soon. And I know the Oscars is also coming on tonight, so I think I might be watching bits and pieces of it. I might not watch the whole thing because I gotta work tomorrow. I'll try to do at least one more video tonight because I really miss doing this, and I kind of felt like I was semi-retired for doing videos. But yeah, you guys are the best, and thank you so much, as always, for watching my videos. And knowing that you guys are watching my videos, it makes me want to do more. And I love you guys. And if you want more reviews for the latest movies, you know where to find me.